Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Vicky and today you're joining me to make these really pretty, really sweet little flower inspired component earrings. As you can see, I've made my petals essentially out of these 2-hole cabochons and then surrounded them with seed beads before adding in these pretty little fire polished on the inside and between the cabochons. They are quite flattish on the back. It may seem like it's doming as you're making the piece, but that will all flatten out because there is a lot of passes through the edge of our beads, so that really pulls it quite taut and tight. But I really like these because I love the idea of the fact there's the negative space rather than having something in the middle. Obviously if you're at the level where you want to add maybe a chaton in the middle or a pearl or whatnot, you could do that. You would just need to add a couple more rows onto the top, probably using these little 15s here, these single ones that are popping out. You just need to use them, and then you could have something a bit more sparkly. But I quite like the idea of these as being more of a daytime earring because they're not as sparkly as a lot of the pairs I usually make. I do have a lot of sparkly earrings, but yeah, I like the idea I can just throw these on and go. So let's take a little look at what we need to make our earrings today. And it's quite a small amount of materials really. You don't need lots and lots of materials to make these, and they work up quite quickly once you get into the pan. So today you will need a size 11 seed bead, a size 15 seed bead, a 6mm 2-hole cabochon, a 3mm fire polished, some ear wires, but I'm also going to make today's piece into a pendant because obviously I've got the earrings and I'm using the same colours. So I've just got this little cute flower component to make a little pendant from. I thought it would kind of go nice, but we'll see how that works. You'll need a couple of jump rings as well. And attaching the flower components is exactly going to be the same way as attaching the ear wires, the way I've done it with the jump ring. So there'll be no difference in that. I'm using a size 12 needle and 6-pound Fireline, and that's everything. So should we get started? Okay, so the first thing we're going to pick up is, the first thing I should say is I'm using a wingspan of thread. I always forget to say about the thread. It's kind of like I just go for it without the thread. So here we go, wingspan of thread. Now you don't need to use a wingspan of thread. You should use whatever you're comfortable with. But there's a lot of passes through the earrings, so a wingspan for me really worked. I had a little bit left over at the end, but then I just popped that in my thread jar so that I can use it for if I need to add thread in at any point. Say you get to the end and you can't add your earring loop, that kind of thing. So it's always handy to have a little thread jar on your desk or wherever you work. Just for any excess threads that you might want to keep. So yes, now we'll start by saying we're going to pick up one 6mm 2-hole cabochon. Now I'd say to check your holes of your cabochon because you don't want to get through your project and then find one of your holes is blocked. So if it is blocked, just get a large sewing needle and just kind of gently wiggle it through. But just be really aware that it might not work. It could break the bead. So that's why we always check beforehand. It's good to know that we haven't got to do that halfway through. But yeah, that's why I would normally try and unblock my holes of beads that are a little bit blocked. Yeah. So we're picking up this 2-hole cabochon. Watch the orientation of your cabochon. So as you can see, the 2 holes are there and there. I'm going through it horizontally, and I'm going to say the bottom 2 holes, the holes that are closest to me, and I'm going to pick up one size 11 seed bead, and I'm just going to drop them down to the end of my thread, leaving about a 10cm tail. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up one cabochon and one size 11 seed bead another 5 times, alternating them, and then I should have a total of 6 cabochons and 6 size 11 seed beads. Okay, I actually found that quite easier much easier to put it down on my mat while I picked up my beads, just because of the way the getting to the cabochons to go down. So I'm sorry if I was off camera there while I did that. But as you can see, I have 6 of each bead now on my thread, and I'm just going to tie a double overhand knot just to keep these in place as I make a little ring. You don't need to do a knot if you don't wish to. You can just like go through them all again, but I found that a knot works perfectly fine and it's quick enough to just get my beads into this little ring. And I'm just going to go forward into, I'm going to go through the first size 11 and into the cabochon and into the size 11 afterwards, and pull tight. So that's what your beadwork should look like now. You should have this ring of cabochons and size 11s. And now I'm going to pick up 3 size 11s and I'm just going to go into the top hole of the neck of the cabochon that's in front of the 11 I'm coming out of. So the unused hole, and pull through like so. And then I'm going to pick up 3 size 11s and I'm going to go into the next 11 along in our ring and pull through. But now it changes a little bit. We're not going to keep adding 3 size 11s just here. So I'm going to pick up, I'm going to go through that last 11 that I've just added there. So into that one and pull my needle through. And then I'm going to pick up 2 size 11s and I'm going to go into the unused hole of the next cabochon along, like so. And now you can see that I have these essentially 5 11s connected to this single one that's between our cabochons. And now I'm going to pick up 3 size 11s and go into the size 11, the next one along after our cabochon. And again, I'm going to go back up that last size 11 of them 3. And I'm going to pick up 2 size 11s. And I'm going to go into the unused hole of the next cabochon along. And again, we have these 5 beads connected to that bead there. And I'm just going to continue doing that all the way around, adding 3 11s, going through the 11, coming up the last one of the 3 and picking up 2 before going into the next cabochon. I'm going to do that all the way around until I get back to this first set of 3 11s we added here, because we will want to join them like the rest, but obviously the last, we'll only pick up 2 here and we'll use this bead as our third one. So complete that all the way around. Okay, so I'm just about to add in this last set here. So like I said, I'm only going to pick up 2 size 11s here because I already have these 3 in place, and I'm going to go into that, essentially that would have been the first 11 of that set of 3 here. So I'm going to go into that one like so. Back into the 11 between the cabochons, like so. Back up that 11 that's joining these 2 sets of 2 now, and through the set of 2 that is on this side of the cabochon, like so. So I'm going to go back up this, the one that joins them. A bit easier to see if I do it all in step. And then through that set of 2 there. So essentially going through 3 beads. And pull. And that's how your work should look now. I'm now going to pick up 4 size 11 seed beads. And I'm going to go through this 2 here and straight into the next 2. So what I'm not doing is I'm not using these 2 seed beads anymore, the one that's between the cabochon or the one that joins the sets of 2. I'm not using them right now. I'm just going to go straight through them 4, like so, and pull. And this is giving us the little 11s around what will be our petals essentially. And I'm going to repeat that again. So I'm going to pick up 4 size 11s, and I'm just going to go through them 4 beads, like so. And then I'm just going to repeat that all the way around, adding in 4 size 11s. I'm just adding in my last 4 11s, joining them to that 4 there. And that's how my work should look now. I'm now going to weave through the first 4 11s we've just added, like so. And then I'm going to go into the first 2 there that are on this side of them 2 11s we've not used. And then I'm going to go down into the 11s we haven't used, because I want to be coming out of the 11 that is between the cabochons from the very first step we did. So down that one and then into this one. Like so. So coming out of that 11, I'm now going to pick up 1 15, 1 3mm fire polished and 1 15. And I'm going to miss the cabochon and go into the 11 after. So the 11 that was between the cabochons, I'm going back, I'm using them again. So I'm coming out of this one, missing that cabochon and going into the 11 after. And pull tight. And I'm just going to repeat that all the way around, adding a 15, a fire polished and a 15, and going into the 11 that sits between the cabochon. And I'm just adding in my last 15 fire polish 15 and going into the 11 I started from. And then I'm going to go through my first 15 fire polished and the 15, like so. So I'm coming out to that 15 now. Now I'm going to go back into the 11 and into the first 15 of the next set of 15 fire polish 15, like so. So I'm coming out of this 15 here. I'm now going to pick up 1 15 and I'm going to come down the 15 that is on the previous set of 15 fire polish 15, like so. So I'm coming out of this one and I'm going to come down that one, and that will just cause that single 15 to now sit between these two 15s. I'm going to go back into my size 11 and through my next 15 fire polished 15, 11 and 15. So that's it, 15 through the 11 and into the next 15, like so. And then I'm going to repeat adding that single 15, so picking up 1 and coming down the 15 that sits before this one on the previous set of 15 fire polish 15. So it gives it that little, the one in between them, so it sits between them now. Go back through the 11 and then through the 15 fire polished 15, 11, 15. And you're just going to repeat adding the single 15s in all the way around. So I'm just adding in my last 15 now, my last single 15 between my 15s. And then I'm going to go through my 11, through the next, that 15 there before the fire polished and into the fire polished. So you want to be finishing that round by coming out of a fire polished, like so. And that's how it should look. You should have these single 15s that are kind of sitting between the fire polish but are all attached to the two 15s below. And now we're not going to pick up any beads, we're just going to take our needle through our fire polished and our new 15. So coming out of this fire polished, I'm going to go into that new single 15 we've just added and then straight into the next fire polished. And again, just coming out of the fire polished, straight into the 15 through the fire polished. And we're just going to do that all the way around. Just the once. You don't want to be going through it more than once because we are going to use them again, these beads. And you want to finish by coming out of the first 15 that you attach to a fire polished, like so. So when that first single 15, and that's how your work should look now. As you can see, they're all attached really nicely to these fire polish beads. But you can see it's kind of starting to dome our piece. Don't be alarmed by that. It will flatten out once we add in the beads on these beads here and use the edges. And also when we add the 15s that we're going to add next. So coming out of a single 15 between the fire polished, I'm going to pick up 4 15s and go straight into the next single 15. So I'm now missing that fire polished, like so. And I'm going to repeat that again, picking up 4 15s and going, missing the fire polished and going into the next single 15. And then I'm just going to repeat that all the way around. So I'm just about to add in my last set of 4 15s. And I'm just taking my needle straight back into that first 15 that we started the round from. And pull through. And then I'm going to go up the first 2 15s of the first set of 4 that we've just added. Like so. So now you can see we've got these sets of 4 15s sitting over our fire polished. And your work should look like that. I'm now going to pick up 1 15. I'm going to go down the next set of 2 15s of that first set of 4. So now you have this new 15 that is popping up between your set of 4 15s in the middle of them. I'm now going to pick up 1 size 11 and I'm going to go up the first 2 15s of the next set of 4, like so. And then I'm going to repeat adding the single 15 in, so picking up 1 15 and going down the next set of 2 15s of that set of 4. So that we've got the little popped one. And then I'm going to pick up 1 size 11 and go up the next 2 15s of the next set of 4. And then I'm just going to repeat that all the way around, adding in my single 15 between my set of 4 and my 11 between the 2 sets of 4, essentially. So repeat that all the way around. And I'm just adding in my last size 11 and going into them first 2 sets of 4 we started, the first 2 sets of 15 of the 4 we started from, and pull tight. And that's how your work should look now. You should have added in these 6 11s and 6 single 15s. Now going to weave through to come out of this first 11. So I'm just going to go down that new 15, down the 2, and you might find it's starting to get a bit tight. So just be aware of how you're pulling through. You don't want to break any beads. And then go into the first 11 that we just added. So your thread should be coming out of this first 11 here. Okay. So now we're going to pick up 1 fire polished and 1 size 15, like so. Now earlier on we had these 4 15s that sat into these 2 11s. You remember when we were adding our 3 11s, sorry, these 11s. So when we were adding these 3 11s coming through the single 11 between the cabochons, back up this 11 and then adding 2 11s, and then we used just the 4 when we were adding our extra 4 ones here. We're now going to take our needle into what was essentially the second 11. When we came up here, we would have added 1, 2. We're going to go into the second one. So the one that the 4 11s is joined to here on the outside, we're going to go into that one there. And that will also be the one that your cabochon, the top hole of your cabochon, was essentially joined to as well. So that one there. So you can see you'd have one, the 11 between the cabochons, the 11 that sits kind of on that 11, and the 2 11s above it. Okay, so take that through there like so. And now you're going to go through the 4 11s that we added above our cabochon. So straight through them 4 11s, like so. And then into the next 11 along. So it would have been the 11 that the 4 11s went into, like so. So you should have just gone through 6 11s there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to pick up 1 15 and 1 fire polished. And we're going to go into that size 11 that we added between our 15s on the inside of our component, like so. Pull tight. We're now going to go back up that fire polished. So that is now attached on both sides of this size 11. And we're going to pick up 1 size 15. And again, we're going to go into that second 11 of that set of 2 on this side that we would have added, and the one that is attaching our 4 sets of 11s that sit over our cabochon. So like so. And pull tight. So now you should have these 2 15s sitting on top of your fire polished. And now we're going to go through the 4 11s and into the 11 after the 4. So again, you should have gone through 6 11s, like so. So I'm coming out of this 11 here, which was part of that set of 2. And we're just going to repeat the 15, the fire polished, and going into the 11 on the inside row. Come here. So it's 15 and the fire polished, and I'm going to go into that 11 there on the inside row of our beads. Pull through, and then I'm going to go up the fire polished. I'm going to pick up 15, and then I'm going to go through them 6 11s again. Like so. And we're just going to continue that all the way around until we get back to this one, where we will just have to add the single fire polish, the single air 15 in on top of this fire polished before going into through the fire polished into the 11. So complete all the way around. So I'm just coming out of this 6th 11 after adding my last ones here, and I'm just going to pick up 1 15. I'm going to go down the fire polished, through the 11, and that connects all of our fire polished to these 11s, and to on the edge you can see they're connected to this one and this one, so these 11s here, and there should be 2 11s in between the ones that our 15s are connected to. You can see that there on that edge, them 2 there would be the ones that we didn't use, and this one are the ones we did. Okay, so coming out to that 11, I'm now going to go back up the fire polished and into that first 15. I'm going to pick up 1 size 11, and I'm going to come down the next 15. Oh, yes, that's what I'm doing, down the next 15 here, like so, and the fire polished. So this new 11 is now sat between our two 15s that are above our fire polished. So I came out the 15, I picked up the 11, I came down the second 15 that's above this fire polished, through the fire polished, I'm going back into the 11, I'm going up the fire polished and back into that first 15 that we used to add our 11 here. Then I'm going to go through the 6 beads again that are around the ones we've just used to add our 15s. I'm going through them all again. This will really tighten up the edge. So there's through 3 and through 3. I'm going to come down this 15 through the fire polished, back into the 11, up the fire polished and into that 15 on this side, like so. I'm going to pick up one size 11, come down the 15 through the fire polished, through the 11, and then I'm going to go back up the fire polished and back into the 15 on this side, and then through the 6 11s around the cabochon. Like so. And then I'm going to repeat going through my 15, through my fire polished, the 11, up the fire polished, up the 15, at the 11, back through them again until you get round to this one. So we're just basically completing that one all the way around. Okay, I'm just adding in my last 11. That's my single 11. Coming down, coming out of the 15, come down the second 15, through the fire polished, through that 11, up at the fire polished and the 15, and then I'm just going to go back into that new 11 that I've just added. And from here we're going to add our little loop on the top of our component. Now you may decide you want to make a bracelet from this component. It's a really nice one, and you could do sort of like, I guess, an up and down effect, or you could join them all together like little tiny circles, like the 11s could all join. You could put some more fire polish between them and you could have a really sweet bracelet, or a necklace. You could have a three necklace, like a 3V necklace essentially, like so. So that's always an option. There's like lots of things you can do with this component. It's really versatile. So, but coming out of this 11 that we've just added in on our last little fire polish and 15s, I'm going to pick up 5 size 11s, like so. Coming out of this one, I'm just going to go straight back into it from the opposite side, like so, and pull through. And I'm going to go into the first 11 I've just added. So now I've got this little loop. Now I'm going to pick up one 15, and I'm just going to take that 15 straight into the next 11 along, like so. And then I'm going to repeat that all the way around, just picking up one 15 and going into the next 11 along. And you'll do that for a total of 4 times. And then back into this little 11 that we started from. So the one we started when we were adding our loop, we're just going straight back into that one. And now you can see we've got these 15s all between these 11s, like so. And then I'm just going to go through all my beads again, just to reinforce that that little loop of beads, because obviously that's where the ear wire is going to go. So you kind of want to have that quite sturdy because it's taking all the weight of the earring essentially. So you want to go through it a few times. And then I'm just going to weave in my thread. So I'm just going to go down there. I'm just going to do a half-hitch knot. So I'm just going to go under that thread that's between the, oh no I'm not, because that's quite difficult. I'm going to go into the 11, and then I'm going to go under the thread between the 11 and the 15 there, like so. And I'm going to pull through to give me this loop. As you can see, I've got this loop now. I'm going to take my needle through the loop and making sure that the knot falls where you've gone under the thread. Just pull very gently, very slowly, and that's a half hitch knot, and that's now between my threads, and it's sealing in my thread essentially. But you could just go through lots of your beads to weave in your thread if you're not a knotter like I am. So there you go. I'm just going to go through a few more, and then I'm going to pull that tight, and I'm just going to chop off my thread. And I will take off my tail thread in a moment. But I'm just going to get some pliers and a couple of jump rings. And I'm also knocking a light over at the same time. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to take my jump ring and I'm going to open it towards me and away from me. I'm going to pop it through my loop, and then you would just attach your ear wire depending on what type of ear wire you're using, like so. But I did say I was going to use my little component, so I've just put that one on, and I'm just going to push that back together. And I'll fix that in a minute. But there we go, that's my little component there, and I'm just going to add another little ring to the top there, and then that can go on a chain. It's quite sweet really, with the little flower component. But you, as I said, you will attach your ear wire if you're making earrings, or you might just want to attach the ring and then attach a chain to that. So that is our piece complete. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, I'd be very grateful if you'd subscribe to my channel, and if you could drop me a thumbs up, that would be also fabulous. There's plenty more content coming. I'm hoping to release something at the weekend, but so keep an eye out for that. If you don't follow me on socials, that's a good place to know when new content is coming out. And to see, like, if I do any updates on pieces, I might make them into other pieces of jewellery. If I started with an earring, you might see a bracelet pop up. So check out my socials, they're also in the description box. Again, thank you for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Bye now.